Matt, thank you for letting us ransack your studio. I know this is the first time you've ever been in this kind of setting before with podcasts, and first time you've ever even seen one live. How does it feel?
Well, I mean, I grow yearly. It's a normal human thing.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasting is really good. As you can tell, I know a lot about it by the podcasting.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how you say it.
I can hear the crickets out there at that joke. I can literally hear the souls dying.
Well, Matt, as you know, you are our producer, so this is not the first one that you've seen. We do ask the usual first question. So, where'd you grow up? Where are you from? That kind of stuff.
So I grew up in Bogachita, Mississippi, as you can probably tell by the way I speak, and I'm super proud of that and absolutely love it. That's it. I grew up next to Thurl Swamp off of Hog Chain Drive.
Okay.
Those are 100% real places. We were having lunch with all
What's funny is that did not faze me at all. Like I was waiting on that.
No, we were having lunch with it was your grandparents, your mom and dad, and your grandmother asked me where, and I told her that, and it was hilarious because she had that glare in her eye of like, is he lying? Or do those places exist?
Is that real?
Is that real?
Is he quoting a movie?
But I did say about Mount Moriah Baptist Church, and when I brought the Baptist Church in there, like it was full sale there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up there, a very small rural community, and that's right outside of Brookhaven, Mississippi. So I went to high school at Brookhaven High School and played football there poorly, but played football there. I was really good at hitting people, not so good at plays.
Okay.
So did that, and then started really with guitar and all that at around probably 11 or 12. My dad had an old Sears Roebuck guitar and an old PV amp that's actually right over there.
Okay.
And I've been to 1,000 things, right? So that's when like X Games was huge. Mm-hmm. So I had a BMX bike.
Yeah.
I still have multiple scars on my left knee from that. So needless to say, I was not successful at that very well. And so the next thing I wanted to do was a guitar. So I told my parents that, and my dad was good, like whatever. And my mom's like, you've been to 1,000 things. Look, go up in the attic. Your dad has a guitar up there and an amp or something. If you can get good at those, then we'll think about a guitar. Honestly thinking, like, I've been to 1,000 things, right?
Yeah, this give it a week.
Right. I was going to be Superman last week. It's fine. And so I went up there and got it, and little did we know, like, that was it. I stuck to it. This was pre-YouTube. So,
okay.
yes, dinosaurs chased me to school.
Yeah.
And I started with books. Just old school, go to Brookhaven Music, which was a thing back then, and get books and just started learning there.
Really? That's interesting. Just kind of taught yourself, huh? Did you? I mean, you genuinely taught yourself from the beginning.
Yeah, 100%. That and internet was a young, new, brave thing.
Yeah.
So you heard the screeching, horrible sounds in the background, and you had to wait for like a web page to load.
Yeah.
It's like things outside of like anybody's spectrum now, unless you're like that old, like I am. But and so there was like chords, like where they had the lyrics and the chords and stuff, and from a book I started doing that, and then I was going to a Baptist church at that time, and there was a guy named Fletcher Grice, who, if you ask me where my turning point from kind of tinkering on a guitar to actually starting to play the guitar was from him. He was a friend of my dad's and watched me grow up and saw that I liked guitar, and so he was like, hey, if you want to at church, we can meet and we can go into kind of the youth building and I can teach you some. I said, awesome. So we started doing that, and he started kind of teaching me some scales, some chords, and that kind of stuff. Then not too long after that is when I was going to go to JUCO, junior college, and I went to Southwest, which was
that's a problem, man.
I know it's a problem, right?
It's a problem.
Well, in my defense, college and universities were something I saw on TV shows, like when Saved by the Bell went into like the extended 97th season and went to college. I was really happy with back home and cows and fields and pickup trucks but my parents saw that a different way than I did. And so when it was time to go to JUCO, that was literally like 15 minutes down the road from the house.
Okay.
So that's a no-brainer.
That was the compromise, pretty much.
Right.
Almost.
That was the absolute compromise.
So when you started playing music and stuff like that, learning guitar and stuff, what was the genre of music you really, from the start, like connected with, or that you just started learning?
I would have to say EDM, house music. That was probably the biggest thing that was popular in Boca Chica. Really blues. I was a pretty good kid, believe it or not.
Really?
I think I was not that good of a teenager, but I was a good kid.
Okay.
And so we were at a car show. So my dad built custom cars and all that kind of stuff. And so we had multiple like vintage cars or muscle cars through the years. And we were at a car show and there was a blues trio playing. And dude, it just like, it changed my entire universe.
It almost like unlocked a whole new world.
Yes. It's like it was a key locked and it unlocked it.
Why?
I don't know. Now I think in musical terms, it was the groove.
Yeah.
Like I'd heard, Dad listened to everything from freaking, Tupac to Isley Brothers to Led Zeppelin.
Boy, he did,
to Muddy Waters to Merle Haggard to Waylon Jennings to, I mean, just like, Dad listened to everything. He found love in every kind of music.
If it would play, he'd play it.
100% if it had a groove.
Yeah.
Like if it felt good. And so
like the soul.
Yeah,
pretty
the soul
much
of it, the beat of it. Like, you know, you hear songs and like they're like there.
Yeah.
Like you're at a restaurant and they probably play like 200 songs over your head while you're like snacking on your food or whatever and you don't know it. But then one song comes on whether you know it or not and you're like, ooh, I can get down with that groove. And so like as a kid, I didn't know what it was, but I just knew it was awesome. Right? The guitar was awesome. And so I had to like get drug away from there by my mom. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry.
It's cars. We're here for cars.
Right. Like I had to get drug away, you know? And that made an impression on me because I didn't understand like this magic that was happening. Right. So I walk up, I see something and I'm locked. Like I don't know what that is. I don't know how you do that. The closest thing that I'd seen to that was Back to the Future when Marty McFly plays the 345, the ES345, by the way, would not be the period correct guitar for that movie. But besides the point of that, so
you had to suspend reality.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry. And for those of you that don't care about guitars, I apologize. So
what is he talking about?
What is the ES blah 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 blah? No cell signs rolling people's eyes. And your listeners made it to
most
10
commonly
minutes.
searched.
Yeah, right. So I was like, this is awesome. This is awesome. So originally I started out on bass.
Okay.
So I played bass. I was playing guitar, but I went to bass. At the church at the time, like a bass player was needed.
It was a hole and you filled it.
Yeah, I filled it. So we bought a bass. All this at this time, a cousin of mine, Tyler Bridge, worked at Brookhaven Music, which is gone now. And so like my mom's office was like right next to it. So I, as an adult now, dude, I had to have driven those people crazy. Like crazy. Like that one kid that comes and like plays on everything and tinkers with everything.
He's back again.
Like he's back again. So I started there and then eventually I went to guitar. Full on. Like I wanted to learn guitar. And so I just started kind of listening to music that my dad did. And then at that time, Creed was on their first hurrah, not the reunion tour they're on now.
Okay.
Scott Stapp was still crazy. And so, like, you know, so like some of that was going on, Deftones and that stuff. But the stuff that I really dug was old music. I dug B.B. King. One of the first vinyls I ever listened to was at my grandma's house, and it was a B.B. King vinyl. And so that stuff just kind of stuck with me. Like that's what I dug. And so when I went to JUCO, they offered me a scholarship for playing guitar in their show choir and then also playing guitar in like the pit and band.
Yeah.
And so it was like, cool, like I'll go to school and I'll play some guitar and everything's great.
Watch them losing football and that kind of stuff,
Yeah, we won't even go there. I had an amazing time there, but it was not by watching the athletics. But much love to him because I had friends that were on that football team.
Yeah,
and dude, there was some big, powerful guys.
Yeah.
Like facts, like it just didn't come together a lot. It just didn't a lot. Like God bless them, dude, because some of those players were phenomenal. But so I got there and
what year?
Oh my gosh,
Making you think now.
This would have been in 2005.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated high school in 2004. And that would have been in 2005. When were you born, Ollie?
I was about to say I was born in 2005.
Amazing. And that's when I opened up the crypt and came out. So I opted to get a dorm room.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess that was my shot at independence. My house was 15 minutes down the road. But
so you wanted the dorm room.
I did. I wanted the dorm room.
See, hearing about your childhood, I would have thought that they would have made you go to the dorm room. It sounded like you didn't want to go.
No, I was down for that. I mean, it's 15 minutes from the house, bro. Yeah. So if I don't dig it, I just go home, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all good. So there were a group of guys that came up from Chalmette, Louisiana.
Okay.
And it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th didn't come. So I got put in dorms with everybody from Chalmette except for me. Which was weird because they were all like best friends at the time, and I'm like kind of the odd man out. But like
really?
I got my peoples, you know, in the area. And
you found yourself 15 minutes from your house, the odd man out.
Exactly right. That is complete facts. And so, but it ended up being amazing because they're the ones that actually took me to New Orleans and started introducing me to a lot of different music. It's the first time I went to like an indie band performance, like at the top of this building thing and that kind of stuff. And that led to getting connections and playing down in New Orleans.
Okay. So you're doing a little bit of gig work. You could
tiny bit, yeah, a little bit
in New Orleans, kind of dipping your toe. So
yeah, because I'm like 19.
Is that like what was the first scenes you would say that you were gigging outside of a church in your life? Would you say?
Outside of a church, probably the first gigs would have been barroom, man.
Yeah,
I've been barrooms. That would have been like I'm trying to think. Sadly, dude, I don't remember what my first gig was.
Really?
I don't, bro.
Wow.
Well, I mean, come on. Like, that's like a lot of years and a lot of gigs ago. A lot of gigs.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that one was probably a blur as well.
Well,
maybe a little bit of nervous.
Yeah, some of that. And I mean, like, for this month alone, of course, I'm here at Jones.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that, so I'm not gigging as much as I was. But I mean, this month alone, I've got 8 gigs in this month. And I'm not going near as hard as I was back then. So it's a lot of gigs. That's a lot of gigs that go. So I don't honestly remember like what my first like true.
But how old would you have been?
Probably 18, 19 years old.
So you've been doing this for about a year when you go down and start doing a little bit of stuff.
I've been doing a little bit of stuff. Yeah, like nothing.
Was that like a big step up almost? Was that?
Oh, it was huge.
Like
it was huge, right? Because like I'd been in New Orleans a couple of times with my dad and my mom and like church trips and stuff like that. But that's like very guarded, right? Like they're not going to take you to like the indie band's rock show at the top of some building or something, you know, like you're going to go to see Cafe Du Monde. You're going to go like to the aquarium. Like you're going to quickly walk across Bourbon.
I was about to say, the Baptist churches bring them kids down. They got to put blinders on. We're going to walk straight. We're going to walk back.
Like, it's kind of like, it's like, can you jump and run from the devil when you get to Bourbon? You know, like you all just
exactly.
That's so bad.
Exactly.
You just shoot the alley and hope the devil doesn't grab you. And so it was real guarded, and of course with them it was not.
Yeah.
But too, New Orleans went from being like this just city, and like I went to their houses and like stuff like so it became like I actually know people here. I actually know this place a little bit.
It stopped being a city and started being a place, you could say, almost.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so I got to experience different parts of New Orleans and stuff like that because of them.
Yeah.
Like, if they were never in the equation, then I don't know. You know, I don't know. I still would have went on to Southern that we'll talk about, but as far as that point of like the building blocks that would later be gigs and stuff, I don't know. It's all in God's plan. And so I started going down there, and then boom, Katrina happens. Mm-hmm. And that was my first year at JUCO, like right when I met these guys, and all that. And so Katrina happens. So that, of course, just destroys New Orleans. It has to be rebuilt and all that. And so at that point, it's kind of back to the JUCO thing, and kind of I play guitar for them. I play guitar here and there, just kind of getting my chops better and learning to play a little bit better. Having to learn music and actually be held accountable to play a certain thing. And JUCO was big because until that point, like, I play whatever I want to.
That's what I was about to ask. Like, how difficult is it to learn and play music that you really just don't like?
Well, for me, it was extremely hard because I didn't know how to read music.
Oh.
Yeah, like
you were taught basically the raw stuff. I mean,
you're
very raw at this point.
Fletcher, like, absolutely schooled me and got me started in improv, blues improv.
So, but like, are you at this point? You're playing a lot off sound.
100%. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like I know a basic scale.
Yeah.
Besides that, I just have a guitar in my hand so much that I know what the note's gonna sound. So if the piece of music goes up, then a lot of times I can hit that next note that needs to be played and hit it right, just off of like God talent and ear from playing obsessively. And so I didn't know how to read music, which it's my fault I didn't, because my mom signed me up for lessons with Tyler, and I went to, I think, one lesson, maybe two, because he brought out like a traditional get started playing guitar book, right? And so it was like you read music and then you played the first string at the first fret, and that was on the high E, and that's an F note. And it was like, this isn't Led Zeppelin. Like, this isn't Hendrix. The stereotypical young kid that somebody's trying to legitly teach you to be a player. Yeah. But you're like, oh no, I should be, playing Hendrix tomorrow. Yeah. Like, dude, you can't make a chord. Yeah. How are you going to play Hendrix? But anyways, so I abandoned it. And so everything from there was books, ear, and then what Fletcher had taught me. And so I didn't know how to read music. And dude, it was brutality.
You had to learn in it?
Yeah, well, that and like being a youngster, being in the blues, into rock, into jam, into that kind of stuff. Like, I would have late night jams with like people in the band in the Fine Arts Building and play and jam out and all that. But then go into a situation on a stage where you got a full horn section, drummer, bass player, all this looking at you because you can't read 6 notes in a row to play an intro.
But trust me, guys, I'm really good.
Yeah, right. You're like, oh, I'm telling you, I can play the guitar,
Yeah.
And so there was a bass player that was there at the time, and I don't remember his name, and I should, but I don't remember his name.
If you're out there, you know who you are.
And he like frustrated, of course, but he was like, dude, it's just this. And like on his bass, he played the walk up. I still remember the song. Everything. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I got it, and everything went fine with that rehearsal. And then, like, I don't know. I guess I'm just dumb. Like, that's when it dawned on me that I should actually look at the music and figure it out prehand.
Maybe I should look at what I'm playing.
Right. Like,
and know what I'm playing.
What did I think was going to happen? Like, that.
But let me ask you this, though. Do you think that learning off ear and going off talent served you well later on? Like, it was like.
It didn't.
Okay.
It didn't. The going off ear and it being in the genre style that I know served me beautifully. But there was also an instance down the road where it absolutely nuked me.
Yeah.
And embarrassed me real bad. So, like, there's a reason why you need to have some form of who you are, soul, 100%. And then if you're going to venture around, like I do session work, I contract with artists and play live. If you're going to do that extent of kind of wideness of work, you really need some of that academia in there to help you to help you along, or you're going to get to a spot
where it's going to
right. Well, you can't proceed from there because you need that language there. So I did that. I was at Southwest for think 2.5, 2.5 or either 3. I took some time off. My grandfather was going through prostate cancer. Took some time off and looked after him, and then worked odd jobs here and there, remodeling houses for this older dude who was absolutely amazing. He actually taught me how to lay tile, which I can still do to today, and love it. Like, really? World ends tomorrow, like you're no longer in music, dude. I could go lay tile.
Yeah,
100%, dude. I love it.
That's hilarious.
But he taught me how to do that. We also found out I was horrible at painting. So
that's the thing about painting. You're either good or you are horrible.
Dude, I'm dog water. It's bad. And so from there, it was like, all right, you're out of Southwest. I graduated from there with a music degree. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, okay, where do you go next?
So you had no plan? Like,
no.
Graduation comes, you walk across stage, you get that diploma, and you're literally like, all right, what's next?
I have no plans, dude. I'm not like looking in the mail for the letters, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I think my mom even sent in like the request to go to USM, bro. Like the application, like,
please take him.
Yeah, right. Like, do something with him. Because like work ethic was not a problem.
Yeah, I was about to go back to that. Like, I think we kind of skipped over one part of your life. You, in your childhood, you watched cartoons every Saturday morning and
did nothing.
Ate cereal.
Yeah.
Went to school, came back.
That's it.
Lounged around. Went to the pool in the summer.
Played the vidya games.
Yeah, the vidya games.
Yeah, so I mean, I grew up plowing potatoes and all that. I grew up working with some cows.
You also grew up in 1822.
1820. Yes. By the way this podcast feels, yes. It was like Jesus came back, and then went to heaven and saved us, and then me and Peter went and kicked it and caught some fish. Yeah, that's the way it feels. So I grew up where hard work. I mean, I helped build the house that I lived in growing up. So that was there. It's just when you kind of grow up small town and you're happy there, like some people, that's happy forever.
Yeah, if you're willing to work, which you were,
100%,
you like it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, because people confuse like what making it is and what happiness is.
Yeah,
they confuse that.
I think that's one of the coolest things that I think. Through podcasts, you listen to other people talk about it, and other people are actually getting to express what they think. It's funny because you see people have that like that moment in their mind where they're like, "Really, what am I? What is the I made it moment?"
Yeah, sure. I mean, to be honest in life, I mean, we all want to climb the ladder. We all want to be big chief, like, of course. But really, making it is you can survive. You're happy, and every day you wake up and walk outside, you're happy about where you are in the world.
Yeah.
I've known a bunch of people that are extremely rich that absolutely hate their lives.
Yeah.
And so, like, no matter, don't get me wrong, somebody wants to give me $1 million, like, hey,
we're not gonna say no, thank you.
Yeah, no,
right? We will in fact say please and thank you.
We'll literally make a TikTok account and we'll just stay live and we'll just ramble.
Yeah.
But
like we're doing here.
That would be when we made it. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, you already got the money, and you're just rambling.
Yeah.
But
you're right. I mean, you see, like sports athletes.
Sure.
These guys are, Dak Prescott just signed a questionable deal, 4 years, $240.
Right.
You would think that's the pinnacle, but a lot of these guys, it's not. And I mean, ask you personally. I mean, you're married and have a child. Mm-hmm. I mean, did you ever think that you'd be that happy with that? Like, as a teenager, did you look at that and go like, I mean, when you're in the rock scene, which we're going to get to at some point, did you ever think about that? Like, how much that would stabilize you?
Not really. I wasn't thinking, man, I didn't even know I was going to go to university, bro. You think I'm thinking about that far in the future? Like, I'm telling you, like a young man.
What's for dinner?
Right. Like, what am I doing now?
Yeah.
I was blessed, dude. I grew up in Mayberry with the best mom and dad that somebody could ask for.
Yeah.
My father's parents and my grandparents lived right down the hill from me. I grew up in the best situation that anyone could ask for. So I didn't have that, oh my God, all the time feeling. I didn't. I had a very stable feeling. So I wasn't thinking 5 years down the road. I wasn't thinking past tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now that I'm an adult, like, I have crazy respect for my parents and all they did, and the sacrifices they made so I could feel like that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize it when you're young.
Yeah.
But as you get older.
That doesn't just happen.
No. That was hard work and sacrifice on them.
Yeah.
And so...
but it's funny because I want to ask you this, too. It's one of those things where you realize that. You're like, how much they gave up. Yeah. There's a party that it's like, well, that makes me kind of feel terrible. But
sure.
There's that other part, I bet you, that you got where you're like, well, I would do anything to give that to my kid.
Yeah, 100%. And now that I have a daughter and we got to do this or we got to do that, and she looks back at me and is genuinely happy over something.
Yeah.
Not so much like what we've given her.
It's a privilege you get to give your kid, but it's almost the standard in your own mind.
Right. And so when they look back and they smile and are genuinely happy, it's all the payment in the world. Like, look, me and my daughter in the mornings, when my wife is getting dressed and finishing getting ready, we go out front and we look for lizards, frogs, and slugs. That's what we do in the mornings, bro. And, like, if you ask me as a teenager, like, how down I would be for that at, like, 6-something in the morning, like, that would blow my mind. Mm-hmm. Now, dude, I'm stoked. I'm trying to catch them. I'm feeling bad about myself when I don't get them caught, you know? Like, there for a while,
what is wrong with me today?
I was snagging those lizards like no problem. And then I went for one and missed it. And then my daughter, she was talking to her mama, my wife's mom, and was like, yeah, Dad's not good at catching lizards. They got away, and I felt that, bro. Like, I felt it. I was ready for the redemption ride the next morning. Like, I don't know where the lizard's at.
All right.
I'm going to tear this house down.
I'm going to show you.
Next time we talk about lizards, we're talking about how good he is at it. But yeah, dude, I mean, it's one of those things of you get it and you respect it so much. Having a youngin' like you see, like, they're happy to do it, bro. Mm. But you do respect it. But I didn't have that. Like, I wasn't looking in the future. When it came to go to university, like, literally, USM I had went to before because my mom, who she worked for, Mr. Bobby Britt, was like, or is like a second grandfather to me. And he would take me to USM games.
Okay. And
so, like, that's all I knew of, like, Hattiesburg, but I knew there was a college there because I'd seen some football get played there. Mm-hmm. Go Sports. And so, sorry, it's the inside with me and Ollie because I don't know anything about sports. But
Yay Sports.
Yay Sports.
Go team.
Go team. But, so, I mean, I didn't even, with students I teach and stuff, I try to get their minds open to what their possibilities are. Because mom was like, all right, you want me to go to college? All right, bet. USM's right over there. I don't even know Hattiesburg, dude. Like, and so USM became the call, and I came over here and visited with my mom, and I went into Dr. Nick Serraldo's into his office. Okay. He's the guitar professor for USM.
All right.
Highly esteemed classical player, great jazz player, great dude, just a beast player, man.
Yeah.
And a good guy, really good guy. And so we sat down, and I kind of told him, like, what I wanted to do, and he's like, well, okay, do you play classical? I said, no. He said, do you read music? I was like, barely. I should have just said no, honestly. Now with what I know. And then he's like, well, do you play, like, jazz, trad jazz, like real jazz? I was like, for real, no. He's like, I don't think this program's for you. Like, wait, no, sir. I was supposed to walk in here, and you were supposed to love me for my 6 blues licks, and it was going to be great. Mm-hmm. And so he said, I think more what you're looking for is music industry. And there's a gentleman named Darko that runs that program. You need to go meet him, and you need to get in that program. I think that's where you need to be. So I left like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I didn't come here for music industry. I came here to be a guitar player. Just again, young and dumb. Golly. And like now, like hearing those players and have done the things I have with musicians and knowing the level I was when I walked in there, if I was Nick, I'd have laughed at me. I wouldn't have. I've been professional. But like, it's like, what? No, you're not Jimi Hendrix, but thank you for coming today. But that led me.
We're glad you think that way.
Yeah, we're glad you think like a champion if you only trained like one. So that's what led me to USM. And the truth about USM, I can say this now because they tore them down. There was some dormitories there across from the school. It's like the Midtown now, which is amazing. There was Elam Arms.
Yeah.
So I pull in.
State of the art, right?
Oh my gosh, dude! Like they could have filmed The Walking Dead in that place. Like no adjustments, no need for props.
Just come in.
Yeah,
go for it.
and I hope somebody was
Students
over that.
and all.
I hope they hear this. Like I really do. So I get there, I pull up in my Ford Ranger, Danger Ranger.
Oh yeah.
And I go in there and I pay my money and get my key. I go up there, dude. The bathtub is black. Like, I don't know, mold, dirt, or whatever. So is the toilet, and a roach runs across my boots. No, sir. Like, our dogs at home sleep better than this, right? And they don't even have to pay us to be there. They got to, like, go get some snacks, right? And so I go back down. I'm like, I don't know who's living here, but it ain't me. And so then
That's
there
a good
was
joke. Let me have the keys to my
right.
real room.
And so there was a conversation that was had, and
very civil, I bet you.
extremely civil, especially me back in those days. And so I got my money back. I went to my truck. And I was like, all right, well, look, hey,
I gave it a try.
We did good. We gave college a try.
Yeah.
Right. Go team. And so I called my dad, and I was like, hey, what's up? So this is what happened. This is what I walked into.
What's for dinner?
Right. Like this ain't going to be it.
What's for dinner?
And he said, He said, well, you don't live here no more, and you're going to school. So I'd advise you figure it out. And that was the first time in my life
Click.
that like that safety net was no longer there.
Oh, yeah.
It's real easy to walk the high wire when you got a net down there. When they take that net, it's a whole different level of what you're asking yourself. And so I panicked for a minute, got mad for a minute, got sad for a minute, and then got my crap together. And there was a hotel that's still there, that's right there off of Hardy in front of the movie theaters. It's like a Days Inn.
Yeah.
I went there and got with mom and dad, and they paid for me, I think, a week. I stayed in that hotel, and I started a mini session. And then from there, I saw a buddy of mine from Southwest, and he was looking for an apartment too. And so we ended up getting an apartment. I don't know what it's called now. It was University Edge then, but it's right beside the movie theater.
Yeah. I think it's called Eagle Flats now or something like that.
And so I started living there. And then that's when I actually was, I guess, then fully in like music industry program.
Yeah.
And then that's also like Chad that I talked about before. He was doing gigs and stuff down in New Orleans with different bands. And so he started getting me on down there, and that was the New Orleans rock scene. And so, yeah, dude, I was rocking the Faux Hawk.
So how old Matt are we talking about right here?
Let's see, 1920, like 22?
All right.
22?
We got 22-year-old single Matt.
And ready to rock.
Oh, yeah.
So I had like the Faux Hawk. I had the ripped band T-shirts. I had like the, they were rocker jeans then. They later, I guess, would be more like skinny jeans now. But it didn't have as much taper in the leg. Is the best way I know how to explain that. Like tore up, studded belts. They had shoes. I don't know if they still make them or not.
On this exact subject, I remember last year I was in the studio here with your students at the time.
Yeah,
and they were all rolling because you had told them about your attire.
100%.
back in the day.
Yeah, dude. Well, I was a little bit fitter back then.
Judas Priest shirt with
ripped
skinny jeans,
ripped halfway down my side. Like I was in good shape back then. Like now, if I wore that outfit, I'd look like like toothpaste when you half unroll it because you're trying to get it out.
You say when you walked out, your wife be like, "We're good."
Oh yeah. Like knowing her, she probably just laugh. So
you don't need a wedding ring at that point.
Oh my gosh, dude! Like, what is this guy doing?
That's hilarious, man.
But I got into the rock scene down there and started playing. Played at Howlin' Wolf, some other spots down there. Went through.
So you're playing rock and roll. So are you talking about like cover, or you guys writing your own stuff? I mean,
cover. This is all higher.
So when you say like, what are we talking?
I need a guitar player. One band I was with was doing like Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay, so kind of not like that
90s alternative,
grunge
alternative. Then another group I was with was doing like the heavier Deftone stuff and that kind of stuff.
So what you're saying is you got some anger out on the stage. Like you
but
got
that's
that,
like
you got that anger out, man.
I wasn't angry, So like, yeah, it was fun. I just wanted to play guitar. Like, I didn't give a crap. But I wasn't angry. I was just playing. Yeah, I was just playing. Some of those people were angry, but I was just playing, man. And I did that for a while until that kind of scene for me. It was time to go. It was time to do different stuff, and also I was getting
just because you were done with it, or like you didn't like it anymore.
The scene was just weird. It just got weird. Like
so, yeah,
it's time to go. You know when it's time to go.
Yeah,
you're at the party and
welcome's worn out.
Yeah, it's you just, feel it. It's just time to go, and it's time to get better and go do stuff. And then I met USM, of course, too, and then that's when I meet Darko. So he starts training me as a recording engineer. So I end up running. Theirs was.
You don't use any of that skill today, do you?
Oh no, none of that. No. What was I even there for? Hub City Records, I think, was the label.
Okay.
And the studio at Southern. And then there I started meeting, of course, other people. It's like my program.
Yeah.
If you want to know where the musicians are, then join a music industry program, and
go there.
There's there. And so I got to know him, and I really just started kind of just hanging around, going to class, rolling cables for him, that kind of stuff. And then there was a meeting that I was in. There was a girl that I was in the program with. Her name's Natalie Kirk. Mm-hmm. We had talked about this before, and I didn't mention her name.
Yeah,
I'll mention it now because I saw, I think earlier this week, that she was gigging again, and that she was playing a show, I think in Hattiesburg.
Okay.
So by the time this comes out, the show will have, I think, already happened. But so that people know she's back out there, it's Natalie Kirk and Company. And so like we've been hanging around, and then she hired me to play with her in her band and this kind of stuff, and writing some and that kind of deal. And so I was in a meeting, and I was just kind of hanging out in the back of it. And Darko comes in, and it was like, where's so-and-so, da-da-da-da-da-da, I don't know. To date myself, I was on my BlackBerry, right? BlackBerry Messenger. The people that are my age or a little older are going to feel this interview so much. The young people are going to be like, what is he talking about? Oh, my gosh, is that is that a legit tablet that you carve into? Blackberries were the best.
The only way I know what you're talking about is The Office.
Okay, they're the best. They'll always be the best. I have an iPhone, but they are the best and will always be the best. If BlackBerry comes out with something that can compete, I leave an Apple. I'm gone. Bring me on that BlackBerry watch.
Yeah.
So they're all talking, and I'm doing that, and then I hear well, who can go? And now it's like, Matt can. I'm like, yeah, Matt can do it.
I can do it.
Matt can do it, sure, whatever. And he tells me my itinerary is going to be sent to me in my email. And I'm going to Paris. It's like, all right, cool. Paris, Texas, here we go. And so call my dad. That's cool. My dad at that point never even been on an airplane, neither had I for that matter.
So you're about to do a McGuffie first.
Yeah, we're going to fly to Texas. It's going to be amazing. Then I read it's Paris, France. And if you don't know,
is that a bit different?
That's not here.
No,
that's not here. There's a lot of water.
Yeah.
And so I've never flown. I've never been past the Mason-Dixon line. I've never been anywhere outside of Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. The Grand Tour.
Yeah.
So I've never been out of anywhere.
You're living in that SEC country right there. That's it. That's it right
there. That's SEC, whatever that is. That's where I was. Go sports. So
I love this interview.
Yeah, teams. But yeah, so I'm half scared, dude. I've never flown on a plane. I don't know none of that, but I'm going. What are you talking about? I get to go play guitar in another country, and so I don't know what to expect. We go to Gulfport, and we get on one of those planes that you can see the pilot. Legitly.
Yeah.
I didn't know that existed, but he just move a curtain, and there he is.
Yeah.
And we don't even break the clouds. And I'm like, how do you get to Paris in this? I'm telling you, you're talking about a naive, dumb kid. How do I get to Paris in this? And the people are just dying out because I'm
take forever.
I'm asking all these stupid questions. And then so we land.
Hope there's not a big wave.
Right?
Get swatted out of the air.
Is there a slingshot we load into eventually? So we land in I believe Memphis, and so we got on a jet that had the big the big engines in the back of it. And I was like, okay, well, this got some horsepower.
You're starting to live 007.
Oh yeah, we're getting it now. I've seen rich people fly on these.
Yeah.
And so we take off, and I'm like, all right, rock and roll. And then we get to, I think, Detroit, and we get on Air France. It's this gigantuan of a plane. I'm like, how does this even get in the air?
Yeah.
He cured my curiosity when he said, we're about to take off. That's son of a gun right there. That thing's packing some power.
Yep.
Put me in the back of the seat. Was super fun. Scared me to death. It was a 13-hour flight. Somewhere in the middle, I got tired of being scared, and so I just like, all right, let's rock with it, because I'm just tired of being scared. Now, I will tell you, this is beside the point, as we've done before, but the biggest problem I had on this flight. It's called
going off subject.
This guy in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy in front of me. He sits down. Right. We loaded the flight. We're in Detroit. He like buckles his little belt, gets all snuggly, and he goes to sleep. Before the stewardess or they do any of the stuff, any of it, he's knocked out, right? All right. I couldn't sleep at all. All right, I'm up 12 hours in a tube.
Yeah.
Dude is sleeping like he has got like the study lo-fi playlist on and like in a dark hole somewhere.
Yeah.
I can't sleep at all. We finally land. We land and they're taxiing us in. And this dude like stretches out like he's had the best sleep of his life. It's the greatest day. He's like all bunny ready to get to it. That guy was the bane of my existence.
It's like going on a camping trip. You can't sleep all night. You get up the next morning, all your buddies are like, well, I slept great in my tent.
Yeah, everything's
like,
just good.
What?
It's just good. I'm like, no, this guy's going with me now for the next 48 hours where I'm going to be awake, and he's living with me. Let's see how happy he is. But you know, that kind of gets me into Paris and starting to play those gigs.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like by the time we're running, we're going to have to part 2 this thing.
I was thinking that too.
I don't know if they want 2 parts of this.
We'll do it anyways. So we'll cut it here pretty much.
Yeah.
So then we'll pick up Paris, because there's a lot to go through.
Yeah, we'll pick up in Paris, because I mean we've already done an hour. And you've made it to me at 23.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you know how stupid of a kid I am. Yeah.